Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, September 22nd, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. It was a very busy week. I didn't even cover everything I need to, so let's get into it. One is the Google Helpful Content update. The tremors are very, very unusual. I'll get into that soon. Google Bard has released a bunch of new features in search. Bing Webmaster Tools did some updates, as well as Bing Chat. Not the ones you're expecting, so we'll get into that as well. Quality in Google search, and so much more. So definitely stay tuned, a lot to discuss. And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Duda. Duda is the professional website builder you can call your own. So check them out at duda.co. And for those, also just at the end, there's going to be an attached video of the Bing or Microsoft AI event where Bing announced some AI features. So definitely click on that thumbnail to watch that video after this video is done. It will be embedded somewhere here or over here in that video. So definitely take a look at that. All right, let's get into the news. First off, the Google September 2023 Helpful Content Update is still rolling out. It hasn't finished yet. It will finish probably soon. But with that, it seems like it was a very, very interesting update. Initially, when it first started to roll out, didn't see so much chatter. But then as like the first day went on, the second day, I saw the chatter start to increase and increase, especially amongst SEOs. Well, definitely amongst SEOs. But the tracking tools kept diving in terms of it wasn't showing as much volatility as it did, not even with other core updates, or other helpful content updates, or other core updates, or any other type of a confirmed update, but in just terms of the normal Google volatility. Generally, we've been seeing Google like very volatile for the past few to several months, actually several months. But all of a sudden, these tools started to dip and say things aren't changing, the search results are just staying calm. But yet, the chatter in the SEO communities, Webmaster World, our comments area, Twitter, etc., literally off the charts with SEOs complaining what's going on with the rankings. This helpful content update is killing me. Some people saying 40% drops, some people saying 80% drops, some people saying wins, but mostly drops. So I have a summary of or a sampling of all the chatter. Not all of it. There's tons and tons of it. And I showed samples of tools that showed significant drop-offs in volatility over the past few days, which is super interesting. Usually you see it being in the red, but as soon as the helpful content update happened, it dropped from red, at least with SEMrush, to orange, down to green. I haven't seen green from SEMrush in ages. And that's not just SEMrush. All the tools, SERP Metrics, Advanced Ranker, AccuRanker, Mozcast, Rank Ranger, all the tools are showing significantly low drop-offs in terms of volatility with Google Search. So super interesting to see. Keep an eye on that, but it's very, very interesting to see that happening. I suspect if you are an SEO, you've seen some changes. It seems like to me this is somewhat focused more on the SEO side, like kind of like the Penguin update, which really devastated the SEO community. So then we had some theories about why these Google search tracking tools are showing less volatility now than they ever did before in the past several months. Dr. Pete said from Moz, who runs the Mozcast, which we use a lot, said finally seeing some decrease in volatility at the tail end of the helpful content update. After 2+ months of wild ranking flux. Wild speculation, but it's possible the summer flux was due to not to an algo update, I guess, but also to AI-generated content causing accelerated content turnover in the SERPs. So he thinks it's related to AI content. Morty Oberstein, who does the SEMrush data for us, he says, you want my conspiracy theory? A lot of the volatility since July has been HSC, like helpful content update noise and testing. If the update was winding down, that theory kind of correlates because the weather tools would also come back to normal. He says there's no proof of this. I think, Morty, you're wrong, but we'll see. I think maybe Pete's right, but I'm not sure. My theory is that this specific update was more focused on SEO'd content, and those tools don't necessarily track sites that are heavily SEO'd in the affiliate, the competitive areas. They're more, maybe these tools are tracking more higher level keywords. And I think SEO, just like with the Penguin update, I think this one really had an impact on specific niches. And because of that, maybe the tools didn't pick it up as much and things calm because nothing else is going on right now. Just the helpful content updates rolling out and everything else is calm. But I could be wrong. I don't know. These are all theories and we don't really have the information on this. And of course, the third-party tools that are tracking Google. Talking about the Google helpful content update, all the SEOs are like, what's going on, Google? You said in your helpful content update documentation when you went ahead and pushed out the new helpful content update that hosted third-party content where you take pieces of content, put them on really, sites that really have a competitive advantage, that really do well in search, and host it there just because you want that content to rank. That content, you said, would not rank as well. But at PubCon last night, Gary from Google said, I'm quoting Kanishi, the crackdown on low quality, who quoted Gary, crackdown on low quality third-party content is only a change to the documentation, and it has not yet been implemented in the helpful content system. It's just a recommendation, he said, meaning they made the recommendation change in the helpful content documentation, but the actual algorithm itself has not been updated yet to go ahead and target this, which is why you see all these we're calling parasite SEO sites doing well in Google search. So it will come to a future update, I suspect. Google also announced a bunch of updates with Bard. Specifically, a lot of things. I'm going to go into a couple of them, but basically Bard, you can now click on the Google button, which is now just a G button, and it will tell you and validate if that answer that Google Bard gave, the response that Google Bard provided, the answer, if it's correct or not. It will basically say Google search found similar content to this line of text in search, or it didn't. And if it didn't, you could probably bet that information is not correct. Basically using Google search to go ahead and validate the responses from Bard. I believe SGE does this on some level automatically. The question is, why isn't Bard doing this automatically? Why is it showing stuff that's not confirmed by Google search? And the answer is, this is what LLMs do. They basically just make stuff up sometimes. Also, Bard released a bunch of new features, including improving the capability of Bard with the Palm thing. Also, Bard has access to Google Apps. They're real plugins now, which is pretty cool. It can read through your emails, your Google Drive device, everything, and say, show me all the emails that I sent, I don't know, John Mueller about this topic, or whatever it might be, and it might come up. Not that I really send the emails to John Mueller. Also, it will go ahead and build off your conversations that you were sharing with you. So if somebody shares a conversation with you, you can actually build off that conversation that was shared with you. And also more supported languages and also Google Lens features and so forth. So definitely take a look at that. A lot of Bard updates this week. Also, Gary said in a recent Search Off the Record podcast that quality impacts everything in every search system in Google. It's not just about ranking. It's all about crawling, indexing, sitemaps. He said everything. And we kind of knew that. It also impacts things in a different way. So ranking, that's obvious, of course. But the cool thing is he went and dug into a bunch of things here. And he basically said about, John Mueller said back in the old days before he worked at Google, like 20 years ago, he was testing to see how Google crawled stuff. And Google seemed to crawl stuff alphabetically. Now they pretty much crawl things based on priority and quality, so keep that in mind. He's not sure if that's true or not that they did that in the old days, but that's what he thought they did in the old days. And then he went in and covered a lot of things around old sites that are large. So he called out Webmaster World, he called out My Site Search Engine Roundtable, and he said it's hard to figure out quality sometimes on the older stuff because maybe the older stuff is not as quality as the newer stuff. But those sites, he said, do not have to worry about this because they get traffic from other sources. So definitely take a look at that. Very interesting conversation from Gary and John about quality in Google search. John Mueller also said a compilation of ChatGPT output is not considered unique content. Of course, all this stuff around AI content, and basically the definition of AI content is that the content is not going to be unique because it's pulling from other sources. The Google site names issue may have been continuing on just for News tab. So if you go to Google search for something, click on News tab, there's examples of sites in the News tab not showing the proper site name. Of course, I think news publishers could call out their own site name in the Google Publisher Center. So maybe it's related to that, but I'm not exactly sure. On the Bing side, a lot of news came out of Bing this week. One is Bing has released a new performance report update for Bing Webmaster Tools. Now, it incorporated a bunch of stuff, data. Usually it used to have only web data. Now it has web and chat together, combined. It will not break out Bing chat data in performance reports, which is driving me crazy because they said they would, and now they're not going to do that. And they could do it, obviously, because if they have it combined, obviously Bing doesn't want us to know something with the chat data, but they also broke out Bing Images, Bing Video, Bing News, and Bing Knowledge Panels. Even Knowledge Panels. So Google wouldn't break out Knowledge Panels, but Bing is. But they're not breaking out Bing Chat. So keep that in mind. That was a big update. If you go to Bing Webmaster Tools, you can actually break out a lot more data in there. And it's just bugging me so much that they're not bringing out Bing Chat data because it kind of proves to you that the click-through rate for Bing Chat is drastically low. On a little note that I didn't cover on my blog yet is that When it comes to ads in Bing Chat, those ads get a higher click-through rate than the ads in traditional search, which makes sense because Bing Chat is very, very minimalistic to design, very, very little images and stuff like that, whereas Bing Search is really a mess of a design, and the ads kind of get swallowed up by everything else. And people know to ignore ads there, but in Bing Chat, they're in your face, they're in the actual answer box, and I think the number was 1.8 times more clicks than on traditional search that the Bing ads get in Bing Chat. Also on Bing Webmaster Tools, they're removing the Disavow link tool starting in October of next month. They said they're removing it. They invested heavily in developing and improving our AI capabilities, which enables us to better understand the context of links as well as trustworthiness and authority of sources. We can now differentiate between natural and unnatural links, and we can ignore or discount the latter without affecting the former. So basically, Bing is able to discount links, and you no longer have to use a disavow tool. When will that happen to Google? Who knows? But it should be coming soon, I would think. Also, with Bing Webmaster Tools, Sitemap's index coverage report is fully live now. It's been fully live for a couple weeks, but we covered it when it was being tested a few months prior, and now this is fully live. And Bing's gave you Sarah Nigman gave you a very detailed review of what this could do. The cool thing is, if you dig in deeper, it would actually show you if you have issues with crawling and indexing because of quality of your content. They actually label these are issues with quality purposes. Also on Bing Chat. Or Bing Chat. At yesterday's Microsoft event, which again, the video will be later, they announced something called personalized answers, which is basically the memory feature we were talking about a while ago. And Bing will now use your historical, up to 90 days of historical searches in Bing Chat to go ahead and customize your answer. So it would not just include the specific chat you put in, the question you put in the chat today, but it might include stuff that you searched for previously if it thinks it's relevant to give you that better answer. Speaking of recent chats, in Bing Search now, Bing Chat will show recent chats at the top of the page if there's a recent chat related to the query. This is spotted by Demir. Sorry if I'm killing your name. So that was a cool find, and it's probably directly related to this Bing Chat history, personalized answers, which we just covered. There's a lot of news coming out of the DOJ investigation on Google. I'm not sure all of it's 100% being accurately portrayed, but I'm not sure. In any event, Jerry Dishler, the VP general manager of Google, who specifically is like the head boss, one of the bosses on Google Ads, said in 2020, according to this report, that Google tuned its prices, ad prices, to meet revenue targets. Ad prices went up 5 to sometimes 10% without communicating those changes to advertisers in order to go ahead and hit revenue targets. The report, according to Bloomberg, said Google has tweaked its advertising auction to ensure it meets revenue targets, sometimes increasing ad prices by as much as 5%. An executive for the company testified Monday at a federal antitrust trial. Google has expanded AI tools for search ads. Google announced this week that Google Ads AI conversational experience is expanding. Google made improvements to the conversational experience based on this feedback, and they will be moving it to a beta launch in English languages in the US and UK in the coming months. So the conversational search where you can use AI to help you generate ads in Google Ads is expanding in the coming months. And also, Google is rolling out the automated creative assets to use AI also in the coming months as well. This came right before I spoke to Microsoft on Thursday, which is yesterday, about them actually coming out with their own AI stuff for Bing Ads, including Bing Ads incorporating AI, Bing Chat ads specifically in specific ad formats for Bing Chat, which we'll talk about next week, I believe. And also around Bing actually releasing tools to actually help advertisers create ads as well, which again we'll talk about next week. The Google Ads front, Google Ads has a new indicator called Limited by Bid Strategy. This is a new one that was spotted by Anthony Higman. And Ginny Marvin said this is a relatively new, from Google, Ginny Marvin's from Google, who said this is a relatively new indicator that may appear when the system determines the campaign can get more conversion value at a similar ROAS or conversion at a target CPA with a value-based bidding strategy. You can review the recommendations, but no action is actually required by you, so keep that in mind. A bit of confusion this week caused by Google when they go ahead and tried to map the UA3, Universal Analytics 3, Google Analytics data to Google Analytics 4 data. It caused some conversion issues and mapping data and caused some issues with the system. Jenny Marvin, the Google Ads liaison, said some advertisers have noticed our systems making changes to GA4 conversion actions in their Google Ads account. This conversion swapping piece of the setup assistant migration process, the turn down of Universal Analytics. Ahead of the migration, advertisers that had a UA property linked with their Google Ads accounts were notified of this and the option to opt out of the setup assistant configuring certain corresponding conversions and or audiences in GA4 and applying them to ads accounts. With the turn down process takes some time. We understand that some advertisers may have been caught off guard with these changes being made now and apologize for confusion. The updates are aimed at mapping UA conversions to GA4 conversion settings, forbidding avoiding duplicate measures. So we knew this was happening. Google announced it many, many times, but it did catch people off guard, which J.D. Marvin said. Google Maps has updated its fake engagement and personal information policies for Google Maps user-contributed content. So you might want to check that out. One is you can't create and use like emulators and devices to fake engagement. It's against their policies, which makes sense. And they went ahead and expanded greatly the personal information section of the contributed policy about who could share what information about who in the Google Maps interface. Google is testing blue highlight text within the actual search results. This is not a feature snippet blue highlight text. This is a core snippet blue highlight text, which we haven't seen before. This was spotted by Jonas Sickler. Here's a screenshot of that. Google Search is testing in the EU regions an European Union label for showing energy labels, like energy efficiency labels on some products. This was spotted by Thomas Excel. Here's some screenshots of that as well, which is pretty cool. Bing is testing a new feature to show what is a secure website in their search results with a new lock icon. Here's a screenshot of that provided by Shaheem. Google AdSense announced some news this week around verification specifically. Now there's 3 new announcements with the verification. One is that real-time site checks. So you can go ahead and when you add a new site to Google AdSense, Google will now verify your ownership in real time. Also, new site verification method was added, specifically a meta tag for that. And finally, Google has updated the ads.txt. They added the last crawl date and time to the ads.txt so you can see when's the last time Google AdSense checked your ads.txt file. Some big news on the Microsoft front. Yusuf, Mehdi, and Mikhail Parakhin, who we quote here often at Search and Roundtable, all got promotions at Microsoft with Panay's weird last-minute departure from Microsoft. So just keep that in mind. Yusuf is taking on a really big role, and Mikhail is taking on a role for Windows and Web Experience team, which still involves, they're both still going to be very, very involved in the Bing search and Bing chat features. Anyway, congratulations to you guys. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is search news we covered with the Search and Roundtable at roundtable.com over the past week. If you want some of the big news, I did a vloggy type of format. You'll catch that thumbnail over here. And Yom Kippur is on Monday, so I won't be posting anything on Monday, but I might post on Sunday instead because I have just so much news this week that I need to cover. So stay tuned. I might have some special Sunday coverage. Anyway, have a great weekend. Be safe and an easy fast to those who are fasting on Yom Kippur. Bye-bye.